Hey everybody, and welcome to this special on the super full book moon in Sagittarius on the 10th of July 2025. So the theme for this full moon is astrological adventure of inner freedom, because that's what Sagittarius energy is all about. It's mutable fire energy, initiating things, changing things. So yeah, this full moon is exact at 9:37 p.m. All times are GMT British summertime as well. And as I said, it's in Sagittarius, that's a fire sign, and it's all about liberation, taking that call to adventure, trying new things, travelling, branching out into new connections, whether it's on a friendly level or professional level or romantic level, and restoring your happiness, your joy as well. It's a very playful energy, and we are going into, we're just past midsummer and we're going into, the later stages of summer, so the moon's making a trine with Mars, a quintile with Saturn and Neptune, and a sextile to the moon's north node, which I'll talk about in more depth later. It's in the 25th degree of Sagittarius, which has the Sabian symbol, a chubby boy on a hobby horse. So like on a horse, like a fairground horse, or like a rocking horse, if you know what that is. So also at the time of the full moon, Saturn is going retrograde on the 13th of July as well, later on this week as well, and Saturn's been in its pre-retrograde phase, because before any planet goes retrograde, it's always in its pre-retrograde zone. So Saturn's retrograde energy is influencing this full moon. The 25th degree of Sagittarius rules the condyles of the right femur of our right leg ray, and the north node is in the 28th degree of Aquarius, and the south node is in the 28th degree of Leo. So these energies kind of create a soul evolutional pathway for us as well. So in your mind, if you can imagine an astrological archer, so an archer drawing back their bow, remember Sagittarius is represented by the centaur, which is half man, half horse, and it's getting ready to launch you into your next chapter of growth. And as I said, Saturn going backwards in 3 days is giving us a proper reality check at this full moon, to think about what exactly we are building in our life, what exactly we do want in our life. And it's a book moon as well, so there's a lot going on, and of course, I like to go in depth, so you're going to know all about it, so stay tuned. So yeah, we are basically being asked by the universe to look at our life and look at what's actually working in our life and what's not, and what we need to release. In the 25th degree of Sagittarius, this full book moon is not messing about. It's an astrological equivalent of like your friend, your mate who rocks up on your door with a backpack and says, come on then, we're going on an adventure. It wants us to take that practical action, which can be kind of hard because Saturn's going into retrograde, Neptune's already in retrograde as well, so a lot of inward energy, but it's wanting us to think about at least how we can expand, make our life better, and grow in ways that we haven't imagined, or in the ways we know we need to do but we keep on putting it off. So what is a book moon? So a book moon is the name that we give to the full moon in July, and it's typically when male deer's antlers grow to full size, and this is a powerful symbol of masculine energy reaching its peak strength and maturity. So it's wanting us to tap into that masculine energy of doing, right? And Native American tribes traditionally recognize this as a time when the forest gentle giants display, the deers of course, their crowns of power, representing leadership, protection, and the courage to stand tall in your truth. So positively, it gives us the natural confidence and ability to guide others and ourselves with wisdom and strength. Our instincts can be activated, so we can have a strong desire to protect, safeguard what matters most to us, whether that's our family, our values, our dreams, and it wants us to maturely use our masculine power, our doing energy. So it's about having balanced assertiveness that combines strength with gentleness, and it also activates our crown chakra, right? Because antlers on the head, so that's our crown chakra in the human human body. So this increases our spiritual connection and higher consciousness awareness, but negatively we can be territorial and aggressive with our territory as well, becoming defensive or possessive of our space and relationships or resources. There can be stubborn ego battles with others, or butting heads unnecessarily with others over matters of pride and ego. We can just wander restlessly because, wanderlust is the theme of Sagittarius energy, and we can just have wanderlust right now and scattered energy, and we can just struggle to commit to one path or direction. And we can also have dominant struggles as well, and power conflicts that come from wounded masculine energy and of seeking validation. So the best use of this energy is to step into authentic leadership roles, whether at work, in relationships, or within our community. Set strong personal boundaries. Use this protective energy to safeguard our peace and well-being. Start solo adventures. It's a perfect time for independent travel, hiking, or exploring new territories, or starting new creative projects, or even new ways of thinking. Sagittarius is a 9th house, right? Higher learning, higher thinking, questioning your beliefs, maybe learning a new spiritual, philosophical, religious, or sort of like legal discipline, whatever works for you. Tapping into that critical thinking energy of why you believe the things you believe, releasing limiting beliefs about power or any other beliefs that are holding you back, letting go of fears around standing in your truth and owning your strength, and connecting with nature's wisdom as well. So spending time in forests or parks or any other green space to absorb grounding energy. So the book moon in Sagittarius creates a particularly potent combination. The deer steady grounded strength meets the archer's world, freedom seeking spirit, and this combination, this fusion, asks us to find our inner compass, which is book energy, while remaining open to life's grand adventures, which is the Sagittarius spirit. And it's all about growing antlers of wisdom while keeping our hooves, our feet on the ground as well, but also being ready for that next exciting journey and adventure. Also, on the financial level, it wants us to sort of think about our relationship with the pound note, with money, and, the complex relationship we all have with material financial security. So it can bring a wave of anxiety about our personal finances, and individual vulnerabilities can be exaggerated of our finances right now. So, it's important to, offer a listening ear and have genuine empathy if someone comes to you with money problems right now, but resist, the need, the urge to reach for your checkbook, your credit card, your pocket, your dollars, your pounds in response to every sub story, because people can swing between extremes rather rapidly during this book moon. One minute they're absolutely fine, the next minute they're in complete panic mode. So the most valuable contribution that you can make during these choppy emotional waters will be offering consistency and acting as that reliable kind of anchor, that friend, that source, that point that people need as they're drifting from mood to mood right now during this book moon as well. And when the atmosphere gets intensely personal and people start oversharing their deepest worries, it's worth remembering that maintaining healthy boundaries truly creates better and healthier relationship, and it can be hard as well, especially if you're the one going through emotional and financial problems right now. But try and do a budget, try and get help. I don't know, it can be easier said than done as well, but try and come up with a practical plan to improve your finances, rather than thinking loaning more money off friends or family or institution. In some cases we need to do that, consolidate our debts and all the rest of it, but also watch out for overspending and emotional spending as well. Just remember, having that metaphorical fence between you and others' dramas right now doesn't mean you're being cold. It actually provides something solid to rest against whilst you're having these heart-to-heart conversations, having the boundaries, knowing what's your stuff, knowing when it's healthy to help. Sometimes it will be the right thing to do to lend money or any other resources, but sometimes the kindest thing you can do is to remain steady when everyone else is wobbling, and to be firm with people as well if they they're, for instance, always lending money, or they're not changing their behaviours and they just go around borrowing money from others and not paying back and stuff like that as well. So the key of this super book full moon is to be a supportive presence without getting financially or emotionally entangled in other people's fluctuating, changing moods and monetary concerns as well. So as you know, in astrology, the full moon is about completion and release, and releasing the limitations that we've placed on our own potential. Sagittarius energy is like having an astrological passport to anywhere your soul wants to explore, and it's asking you to finally cash in those unused tickets to freedom. So letting go of those toxic thoughts, or continuing the work of letting go of those toxic relationships and habits that are stopping you from being your full self, you know, releasing beliefs that have kept you playing small. And as I said, Sagittarius rules higher learning, philosophy, and that feeling of what if. And this energy is all about bringing those dreams that you've been, you know, putting off out in the open and nurturing them into fruition, into completion, step by step, day by day. It's a harvest time for your faith, your vision, and your belief in what's possible. So positively, we're being given the astrological permission to think bigger, dream wilder, and trust that the universe has our back. This is a good time for releasing fears around travel, education, spiritual growth, and sharing our wisdom with the world. If you've been sitting on that book idea, teaching opportunity, or adventure plan, this full moon is practically shouting, what have you been waiting for? But the challenging bit is that if you know a Sagittarius, Sagittarius energy can be scared of commitment, so you may find yourself feeling restless or wanting to leg it from responsibilities. The key is to learn to find freedom within your current circumstances rather than always looking for the exit door. So the best use of this super full book moon energy in Sagittarius is to write a letter to your future adventurous self, you know, talking about all the plans that you are going to be bringing to life and what you want for your future in 2 years, in 3 years, in 5 years, you know. Create a vision board for your next big journey, either a metaphorical one or literal one. For some of you, you know, it's journeys in the mind, it's journeys about spiritual inner work, thinking about how you can change your thought processes and stuff like that. You can also practice forgiveness rituals, thinking about how you can let go of past disappointments by letting the past go, starting or continuing that work, journaling about what beliefs you're ready to outgrow and release, taking yourself on a mini adventure, even if it's just exploring a new part of your town, you know. So at the time of this full moon, we've got the sun in Cancer opposing the moon, so our emotional security and home base is being highlighted right now. So the sun's nurturing energy is creating a beautiful tension with the moon's need for freedom. So it's kind of like giving us that, oh, I want to explore the world, but I also want to stay at home so I can have mom's Sunday roast and dinner, or my favourite kebab, or fish and chips, you know, or whatever, you know, the things that you like about your hometown, wherever that may be. And with the moon in Sagittarius, it's raw, untamed optimism, and it kind of like meets up with deep emotional wisdom. So it's like having a wise old philosopher and an excitable puppy rolled into one. So while we can have, you know, profound deep insights and infectious enthusiasm, we can also take on too much and be reckless as well. So we just have to try and find that balance, but also be open to letting go of the things that are holding us back. So now I'm just going to talk about the aspects that the moon's making at the time of this super full book moon in Sagittarius. So as I said, we've got moon making a trine to Mars, and this energy is the warrior's gentle release, and it's like it's having a proper friendly chat, the moon in Sagittarius with Mars, right? So think of it like a moment after you've shot your arrow and it's flying towards its true target. So you've made your plan, you've decided on what you want to do, you want to let go of that relationship, that job, that thought pattern, that habit, right? And it's sort of like bringing that energy of a job well done for you guys who have already released, or it's supporting you to let go of the things you need to let go of. And the conflicts that you may have been having and heated emotions within can cool down with this energy, because it's a separating at the moment, but it's also giving us the courage to speak our truth and relaxing after we have spoken our truth, you know, being empowered by speaking our truth right now. It's allowing us to release that anger and frustration in healthy ways, you know, like I said, by having those conversations, doing those things we've been putting off, or taking action on something that's been eating away at you as well. So this trine energy can make us let go of things with no drama, just clean, purposeful release. You know, this is when we can get really logical and just rational and be like, I don't want this anymore, and the other person may want to bring in the drama, and you just stand firm. You know, it's helping us do that without being exhausting. You know, it's giving us that energizing energy to really go after what we want. We've got the moon making a quintile to Saturn, so this is like a master's craftsman's touch. You know, it's giving that boss energy. It's all about creative genius and mastery over the environment, over yourself as well, allowing you to, it's a sword energy, so it's like having a master archer teaching you from the inside out how to get exactly what you want out of life, you know, in a disciplined way, but also creative with it as well, especially when it comes to you telling the truth, you know. So it's helping us communicate the things we really need to communicate right now as well, and releasing the things we need to, you know, let go of. And it allows us to become masters in expressing our personal beliefs right now, and it supports our creative writing projects and all projects that focus around, or communication that focus around being authentic and having integrity, you know, standing firm in what you believe, by also respecting other people's boundaries as well. And you know, it wants us to not just follow the rules, it wants us to create new ones. The moon's also making the quintile to Neptune, so it adds to the creativity that's happening right now. Some of you may have dreams and mystical visions, you know, that help you find solutions to problems that have been, you know, on your mind for a while. We can have spiritual and creative breakthroughs with this energy, and we can just have mentally vivid sort of like visions as well, you know, because, you know, Sagittarius loves a good vision quest. It's all about the ninth house, right? Higher thinking, higher learning, and it can also, you know, bring some of you the synchronicities where you get gentle reminders from people or inward thoughts on what you need to do. It brings a nice transcendent ethereal energy, because we've got the moon and Neptune both here in a quintile, which is a soil energy. So most of you will feel this inward. Some of you would just have a feeling that something's going to happen, but you can't explain why. You know it's going to happen, and it just happens, you know, as Neptune's whispering its secrets to the moon, and you know, it's offering us the chance to be open to receiving universal and higher truths as well. So anything that comes up now, write down any dreams or visions, and make sure you think about the practicalities of grounding these visions in reality, you know, because you don't want you to sort of like get too lost in them, but you don't also want to potentially miss insightful information that can help you solve your problems or come up with that idea, you know, or help you. The moon's also making a sextile to the north node as well, so it allows us to focus on our higher purpose as well. So a lot of these aspects at the time of this moon is helping us to get on track with our high potential and our karmic destination, you know, the path we decided to incarnate to live this lifetime. It's helping us to trust our intuition and our gut feelings about what we should be studying, what career moves we need to make, what travel plans or philosophy we need to really read up on or listen to right now, you know. The things that we really need to do, this energy allows us to you know, get insight into that and have those light bulb moments as well, so pay attention. And the sun also makes a trine to the moon's north node, so again it's supportive energy energy, pushing you towards your soul's purpose, providing what I call destiny sandwich. The sun represents our conscious will and identity, and as I said, it's in Cancer, so it's all about protecting and nurturing our emotional security and stepping into more empathy for ourselves and others as well. And it wants us to explore and expand, the things that we want to really learn and bring into our life as well. So it's a great energy for anyone in caring professions as well, or teaching or family planning, because the universe is giving us on a green light on, everything fourth house. So anything to do with looking after our physical home, our psychological, spiritual, emotional home within us, anything that wants us to nurture and protect ourselves or others as well. And the moon's trine to the south node wants us and supports us in letting go of the things that we need to let go of and that no longer serve us as well, especially outdated beliefs as well, whether it's religious beliefs or educational frameworks, like I have to learn things like this, I have to go to university to learn this. Of course, if you want to be a lawyer or a doctor, you need a proper credentials, but some things you can just learn by reading a book, buying an online course and stuff like that. So getting real about what learning new things mean to you and doing it in a way that's suited to your temperament, also helps us to really heal those old patterns that are holding us back and to grow into our expanding truth, into our authentic self. The sun also makes a sextile to the south node, so again it's allowing us to let go of unhealthy codependent behavior and dependencies, to toxic thoughts and habits, and move into ways that we can care for others and ourselves in ways that is empowering rather than enabling, right? And it reminds us that it's important to make conscious choices in life rather than, non-conscious ones that can lead to painful losses. So ultimately, all of these aspects working together, the Mars trine gives us the courage to go after our truth, the Saturn quintal wants us to be disciplined with our creativity, and the Neptune quintal to the moon wants us to be more intuitive and give birth to something that's genuinely innovative, whether that's a new daily routine or creative project for some of you. And the north nodes are supporting us in letting go of what no longer serves us and stepping confidently towards our soul purpose and release the things we need to an emotional, spiritual and psychological level, and reminding us it's all about creative mastery and spiritual breakthrough, not just processing our moments. It wants us to alchemize them to change them into something beautiful and meaningful, reminding us of the practical magic, the combination of fire, Sagittarius energy where the moon is and water where the sun is creating what I call steamy inspiration, giving us passionate ideas that are not also just emotionally nourishing, but that we can practically apply in the real world, taking actions that align us with our soul paths. And the book moon is here to remind us that the book stops here, it stops with you. It's about mastery, taking accountability for your day-to-day life and what you really want in life, and releasing the things that are stopping you from being creative and being authentic and standing in your power. So now I'm just going to analyze the Sabian symbols that are influencing this super full book moon in Sagittarius. So as I said, the moon is in the 25th degree of Sagittarius. That Sabian symbol is a chubby boy and a hobby horse, and this rules the condos in our right femur, our leg right, and it reminds us where play meets purpose. That's the tagline. So it shows us the symbol of a child completely absorbed in imaginative play, riding their trusty hobby horse with absolute conviction. It reminds us about emotional authenticity that's pure, unfiltered, and the joy that we had as children, which we sometimes can let go of in adulthood, and where we could transform a simple toy into a magnificent kind of like horse, a steed, showing us the power of our imagination. From a Jungian perspective, it represents the eternal child, that part of us that approaches life with wonder, creativity, and the absolute belief that anything is possible. It's about maintaining innocence while also gaining wisdom. It reminds us of, the simple pleasures in life, authentic self-expression, approaching challenges in our life with playfulness, with imagination, with openness. Sagittarius energy, it's ruled by Jupiter. It's all about optimism despite setbacks, getting ourselves back up through life's challenges, and life will always be lifing, right? And it's about finding the magic in the mundane, in the routine, into day-to-day hustle and grind, right? But negatively, this Sabian symbol, this energy at the time of this full book moon, can make us avoid our adult responsibilities. We can live in fantasy right now rather than reality, refusing to grow up, being naive about serious matters and playing when work is needed. So it wants us to let go of the belief that life has to be serious all the time, and release that adult condition that says play is frivolous, it's stupid, it's a waste of time, but also take accountability for the adulting, paying the bills and stuff, but also not being locked in by society's dictation that we must pay bills in this way. We have to do this job for 50 years so we can get retirement, if you've got a dream and vision, you want to set up a business, you want to create content, you go after that dream. Sometimes you have to do it at first while you're still working at 9 to 5, but if you build a steady plan, you can make your dreams, whatever that is, whether it's to be a doctor or lawyer or content creator or an astrologer or a healer, you can make that reality if you're prepared to do the hard work. On the occult level, it represents the magical thinking that actually creates magic, reminding us of the power of imagination to reshape our reality, and it's about manifesting through pure joy and authentic expression. But the sadder side of this energy warns us against spiritual bypassing, using positive thinking to avoid dealing with practical realities, our genuine emotions. So it reminds us to work with our inner child during this full book moon, and it reminds us that our younger self holds the keys to our authentic power in terms of our how it influences our health. It reminds us and supports us in being creative and expressing ourselves, and to reconnect with what truly brings us joy and happiness. It wants us to bring more play into our spiritual practice, and not seek perfection in our spiritual or any other practice. It wants us to dance maybe while we're praying or meditating and singing our gratitudes, rather than thinking, oh, this person who I see as my guru, or my leader does it this way, I have to follow them. No, spirituality is all about finding your path to the higher power, and the condos of the right female relate to how we support ourselves while moving forward. So any knee or leg issues may be about the fear of taking the next step, so looking after our feet health right now, doing gentle massages, having nice baths, rubbing them down, or having someone rub them down for you. Psychologically, it's a good time for inner child work, and it wants us to tap into that inner child, because that's the part that truly holds the wisdom that matters. It wants us to release the heavy, serious approach to life that you may have been taking, and remembering that the best way forward is often the most joyful way, and that our authentic selves know how to deal with life with both wisdom and wonder if we're open to working with that childhood energy. And in the practical level, you can create a joy inventory, thinking about listing everything that made you happy as a child or made you happy now as an adult, as long as it's not toxic. sometimes, overindulging in drinking alcohol can make us, drinking alcohol, saving drugs and alcohol, that's the one, can give us temporary pleasure, but a lot of the time it can financially cause trouble, can cause trouble with our health and routine. So thinking about non-toxic ways that it can bring more joy into your life as well. Saturn and Neptune are in the 8th degree of Pisces, and the Sabian symbol is a girl blowing a bugle, and this symbol represents clear communication of important messages, especially our spiritual, emotional truths, and it supports us doing that. And with Saturn going retrograde in the 8th degree as well in a few days, we're being asked to review how we communicate our deepest values. And the North Node is in the 28th degree of Aquarius, and this falls to right tibia. And the Sabian symbology is a tree felled and sawed, or a tree being cut down and sold into pieces, maybe for wood for a fire, and it reminds us that sometimes we need to clear away what no longer is supporting us to make room for something better. So, for some of you, it's blowing that house down, burning your bridges, taking that conscious effort to destroy that stops you from creating authentically, that keeps you trapped as well. The South Node is in the 28th degree of Leo, and the Sabian symbology is many little birds on the limb of a large tree, and this falls the Chonde tendrine in the human body, and it reminds us about community and belonging. So it wants us to do what makes our heart sing right now and get in tune with the frequency of authentic community as well, whatever that means to you. For some of you it's the community of self, for others it's community of your lover or friends or family, and it reminds us to release the need to perform for other people and to find your true flock, your true people, find your tribe and hold on to them closely, right, and to let go of the people that are stopping you back, as well as the habits that are stopping you from being your full self. So in terms of the karmic lessons, this full moon marks the completion of a cycle centered on authentic self-expression, and it wants us to have the courage to be who we are genuinely. It's a karmic reminder to start waiting for permission to be who you truly are. The child on the hobby horse doesn't ask if it's okay to dream, they just dream, In terms of past life memories, you may find yourself remembering times when you were punished for being too enthusiastic, too optimistic, or too childish. These aren't just childhood memories, they're soul memories of lifetimes when authenticity was dangerous, because sometimes it can be dangerous to be yourself. Not so much in these times, but sometimes it can. Actually, it is. It's getting, especially if you, trans or non-binary or anything that goes against the norm of, I express myself as a cis male or cis female, right? So we may, have these dreams to remind us to be ourselves regardless of what other people may say, but to protect ourselves, because I know some people are in countries where it is dangerous, physically dangerous, to be yourself. So I know that it's not always possible, but we can always be ourselves in the inside, and not get lost of our true selves, even though it may not be safe to show it to the world. Collectively, we're being called to heal the wound of having our natural joy and wonder beaten out of us by systems that prioritize productivity over happiness. This full moon is telling us to reclaim our joy, our happiness, and it reminds us in terms of the soul contract level that it's a pathway to helping us all become more authentic, especially with our relationship with our inner child and what brings us happiness. So in terms of what to release right now, it's reminding us to release beliefs that make us have to choose between being responsible and being joyful, fear of being judged for our enthusiasm or dreams, the adult conditioning that says certain things are silly or impractical, pessimism disguised as being realistic, any situation where you have to hide your true nature to fit in. In terms of shadow work opportunities, it wants us to look at where we've become too cynical, too serious, thinking about, asking yourself what experiences have taught you that joy was unsafe, what dreams did you abandon because someone said they were unrealistic. This full moon wants us to heal those wounds. In terms of forgiveness and healing practices, you can write a letter to your inner child, apologising for the times you've silenced their voice or dismissed their dreams, then write a letter back from your inner child, reminding your adult self of what truly matters. You could create a ceremony celebrating all the ways you've grown while still maintaining your sense of joy. You could light a candle for every dream that's come true, no matter how small. So in terms of family relationships, it's a perfect time to have honest conversations about how family patterns have shaped your relationship with joy and authenticity, and it can be hard to do so for some of you. In terms of friendships, you can attract people who celebrate your authentic self rather than trying to dim your light. It reminds us to release friendships that require you to be smaller and more serious than you are naturally. In terms of romantic partnerships, if you are in a couple, this is a brilliant energy for rediscovering what made you fall in love in the first place. Plan something playful together. Your relationship needs more laughter and adventure right now. For you who are dating, you can really have magnetic kind of energy right now. Sagittarius energy is all about, playfulness and wanderlust, right? But it reminds us to only be your full self with people who can handle your authentic self, and don't be bothered about those who cannot. And it wants you not to dim your sparkle to make other people comfortable. In terms of those who are self-partnered, it's important to heal your relationship with your own joy. Stop judging your enthusiasm as childish and start celebrating them as evidence of an awakened heart. In terms of professional relationships, your workplace desperately needs your authentic energy. Don't be afraid to bring more of your real self to professional situations. The world needs what you uniquely offer right now in terms of the workplace. So in terms of self-reflection questions that you can ask yourself during this full moon, you can ask yourself in terms of your financial life: when did I last make a financial decision based on joy rather than fear? Or do I make too much financial decisions on joy and happiness? Because sometimes it's all about balance. If you're just spending all your rent money all the time on things that make you happy, but then you're stressed out for the rest of the month, because you ain't paying your bills. So how can you bring more balance into your financial life? You can also ask yourself, what would I do with my money if I trusted that more would always come? How can I make earning money feel more playful and less like routine, drudgery, crap, basically? How can you, spice up your life? Sometimes you can imagine that you're not at work or you're at work. I've done it. It used to get me through the day. Obviously pay attention to your tasks, but how can you make life a bit more playful for you, because you are the main character of your life. In terms of your emotional patterns, you can ask yourself, what emotions am I not allowing myself to feel because they seem too much or inappropriate? You can ask yourself, when do I feel most emotionally alive and free? This can reveal what your soul is truly hungry for. You can ask yourself, what would I change if I trusted my emotions as guidance rather than problems to solve? In terms of your spiritual growth, you can ask yourself, what spiritual beliefs make me feel small or afraid rather than expansive, like I'm growing and that I'm loved? How would my relationship with the divine change if I approached it with childlike wonder rather than adult seriousness? You can ask yourself, what spiritual gifts am I hiding because I'm afraid others will think I'm weird? In terms of psychological shadow work, you can ask yourself, what parts of my personality do I judge as too childish or immature? You can ask yourself, how do I sabotage myself when things start to go well? What would I attempt if I knew I couldn't fail and no one would judge me? In terms of your physical health, how does my body feel when I'm being authentic versus when I'm performing for others? You can ask yourself, what physical activities bring me joy and happiness rather than just physical health benefits? Yes, we have to do exercises to look after our body, but we also need to do exercises that bring us joy, gardening instead of lifting weights for some of you, Also, you can ask yourself, how can I care for my body with the same playful affection I would show a beloved pet or child or anything else that you love and see as lovable, because not everybody loves pets and children, right? So yeah. So now I'm just going to finish up with giving guidance for each zodiac sign, and all of these apply to the sun, moon or rising sign, and then I'm just going to talk about how you can practically use this energy as well. So Aries, your pioneering spirit can get an astrological boost. Release impatient with others' pace and trust your own enthusiasm is inspiring people to follow your lead even if they need time to catch up. Taurus, this Sagittarian energy may feel a bit too much for your steady nature, but it's exactly what you need to break free from any ruts, any dull routine you've been stuck in and habits. Release stubborn attachment to how things have always been done and be open to the new. Gemini, your curious mind is absolutely loving this expansive energy. It's the perfect time to release scattered focus and commit to one big learning adventure that genuinely excites you. Cancer, the opposite to your sun sign, might feel emotionally intense, but it's helping you balance security with adventure. Release the need to control outcomes and trust in the journey. Leo, this fire energy speaks your language beautifully. Time to release any fears about being too much and let your natural, your radiance energy inspire others to shine brighter too. So Virgo, this messy, enthusiastic Sagittarian energy might trigger your perfectionist tendencies, but it's teaching you that doing things with joy is better than, doing it perfectly but with suffering. Release the need to have it all figured out first. Virgo, your natural diplomacy gets a shot of Sagittarian honesty. It's a perfect time to release people-pleasing patterns and start expressing your authentic opinions, even if they ruffle some feathers. Scorpio, this optimistic energy is a beautiful antidote to your natural intensity. Release the tendency to assume the worst and allow yourself to hope for magical outcomes. Sagittarius, this is your full moon, darling. Time to release any beliefs that you're too much for this world. Your enthusiasm and vision are exactly what humanity needs right now. Capricorn, this playful energy may feel frivolous and a waste of time to you, especially because you have a achievement focused nature, but it's showing you that joy is the most efficient motivation for success. So release joyless ambition and tap into more play. Aquarius, your innovative mind gets a beautiful boost of Sagittarian fire right now. It's the perfect time to release any detachment from your own dreams and get genuinely excited about your visions. Pisces, this straightforward Sagittarian energy helps clarify your beautiful but sometimes confusing intuitive downloads. Release the need to understand everything mystically and trust some truths are beautifully simple. So overall, to use the energy of this full book moon, practically be open to big picture thinking and planning, expanding your horizons, whether through spiritual exploration, learning new things, and sharing or teaching. Avoid making hasty decisions based on restlessness and over committing to adventures and other things that you ain't got the energy for. You can feel like you can do everything right now. Don't use optimism to bypass genuine problems that need addressing. stressing, confronting, It's a brilliant energy for investments in education on the financial level and anything that expands your skills and opportunities. Release penny pinching, being stingy, not spending on experiences that feed your soul, and look at areas where you could cut back on, maybe on spending on intoxicating substances and stuff like that, and investing that money into things that uplift you rather than things that may take you high for a moment but bring you crashing down. Look for things that bring you that steady high. In terms of our relationships, it's a perfect time for honest conversations about shared dreams and adventures. Plan something together that neither of you have done before, and remember that novelty, shared experience can strengthen connections, not just in romantic relationships but all relationships. Focus on the things that make you feel free and alive. Your body needs movement at the time of this full moon, not punishment. Try something adventurous but safe. Explore new spiritual practices or philosophies that expand your understanding. Your soul is hungry for bigger perspectives and broader horizons. This energy is perfect for projects that combine learning with creating or sharing your knowledge through creative expression. Think teaching through art, writing about your adventures, or turning your wisdom into something beautiful. So ultimately, the full moon in Sagittarius, the full book moon, is astrological permission to be more authentic and unapologetically yourself. The chubby boy in the horse symbology doesn't need your approval to start on his imaginary adventures, and neither do you. Saturn's upcoming retrograde is going to help you build sustainable long-term structures and routines around your dreams, but first this full moon wants you to remember what these dreams actually are. So the key takeaway is start waiting for the right time, the right credentials or the right circumstances to start living the life that makes your heart sing. Your authentic enthusiasm is not childish, it's revolutionary. In a world that's forgotten how to play, your joy is a form of rebellion. So it's asking us to, stop hiding our light and letting ourselves shine our light and let it blind people with its brilliance, Don't apologize for your dreams, instead go after them with confidence, the confidence of a child who knows their hobby horse is actually a magnificent steed, horse, pony, whatever, The universe is your playground and it's time to start swinging from the monkey bars of possibility. Your call to action is deliciously simple. Climb back onto your hobby horse and ride it like you mean it. The world needs your unique brand of magic and it needs it now. And more importantly, you to do the things that bring you in alignment on the spiritual, psychological and emotional and physical and financial levels. And yeah, it can be hard. Some of you may need to do a 3-year plan to get you out of debt. Some a 5 or 10-year plan. Things could be really crap right now. You could be really down in so much debt and you may feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. You don't have the relationship you want, you don't have the career you want, the world tells you that you're nothing. But if you take that first step in, seeking out the tools and resources that can help you to start believing and healing yourself and working with your inner child, and you may not get everything that you want, but you can get some of what you want, and it's better than what you may have now, So, tap into that child energy and allow yourself to believe in you again, no matter how far away from yourself or no matter how much you may think, I can never be better now. I believe in you. I believe that you can. So yeah, this super full book moon is an astrological call of adventure to your inner freedom. It wants you to restore your belief and self-love in yourself and take a look at what's working in your life, as I said at the very beginning, and what's not, and releasing what's not. And it wants you to be open to new, because the only way you can get out of your comfort zone sometimes is to try things that are new. And if we stay in our comfort zone, we can start believing that nothing good can ever happen for us. So it's about stepping into self-empowerment, taking a lead in your life, to let go of fears around standing in your own truth and strength. Taking time out to spend in nature can be really good, and with people you can trust as well, because sometimes it's not a good idea to tell some people your dreams and hopes, because all they're going to do is poo-poo all over them, But this energy is bringing us that natural inward confidence to believe in our own strength and wisdom. So yeah, I'm Amani, your astrological karmic life coach. This has been my full in-depth analysis of the super full book moon in Sagittarius that happens on the 10th of July at 9:37. So yeah, take care and see you next time.